Hello, my name is Brenda, and today I will be talking about police brutality and racism. It is a known fact that black civilians are more likely to be stopped by police than white civilians. For centuries, colored people have been fighting for equality, and sadly, those who are there to protect and serve still cause unnecessary harm. In the article Stop, Frisk, and Assault, published in 2018, states that findings show that black and white civilians experience fundamentally different interactions with police. Black civilians are particularly more likely to experience potential lethal force when police uncover criminal activity. And this disparity is greatest for black youth compared to white youth. It is completely wrong for someone to abuse their authority to cause greater harm on African Americans. Black or white, we must treat everyone equally, and as simple as it should sound, it is not going to be fixed anytime soon. In the article titled Black Man Down, published in September 2017, they go through incidents where police brutality was taken too far. They say the first incident occurred on July 17, 2014. While standing outside a convenience store in Staten Island, New York, 43-year-old Eric Garner attempted to sell loose cigarettes to passerbys. This was in violation of the law, and when New York Police Department officers encountered Garner, several officers attempted to physically detain him. One of the officers used a corbetted restraint, more commonly known as a chokehold, that led to Garner's death in a matter of minutes. This is completely horrific and disgusting. The crime was so small, and the consequence was his life. He screamed, "I can't breathe," multiple times as other police officers stood by, not helping him at all. This adds to my first point, in that if an officer had caught a white man with the same crime, the consequence would have been as small as a slap on the wrist. Nothing close to what happened to Eric Garner. This is a huge problem and not the only instance where an African American had lost their life for a minimal crime. It is heartbreaking to know that this is someone's son, father, or brother. After something as significant as an innocent African American man passing away due to police brutality, it is only normal for fights, retaliation, riots, and protests to occur. The message needs to be loud and clear that this is unacceptable so that we can lessen the likeliness of it ever happening again. In the article titled Protest While Black, published February 2011, did a study on protests, and they examined more than 15,000 protest events that took place in the U.S. between 1960 and 1990. And they found that in many years, African American protest events are more likely than white protest events to deal with police presence, and that once at events, police are more likely to take action at African American events. Even after the police are the reason for this whole tragedy to occur, they still won't support African Americans. They still want to prove something and cause unnecessary problems when silent protests aren't unlawful. With George Floyd's protests, there was always a cop nearby when they were just holding signs. And this was in 2020. Even if it doesn't get as far as death, still other problems can arise. An article, Living Histories of White Supremacist Policing, written in spring 2018, stated, in 1958, 37-year-old black delivery man Woodrow Wilson Daniels was arrested on charges of reckless driving and possession of whiskey, and later died from a jailhouse beating. Multiple witnesses tested that Daniels was beaten to death by Yalobosha County, Mississippi Sheriff J.G. Treloar. So even if police brutality isn't on site where the actual arrest can be placed, police brutality could also take place within the jail/prison that they're in. Now, with all of this information, how can we prevent it? According to the article titled Police Legitimacy, Trustworthiness, and Association, published in 2019, states that research suggests that individuals stopped by police tend to focus more on strongly how police treat them, and those who perceive their interactions with police to be fair and respectful are more likely to view police as legitimate and trustworthy. Knowing that, this police need to arrive with an unbiased attitude so that there is no inequality. Due to Sandra Bland's unlawful arrest, an article, I'm Giving You a Lawful Order, states that the importance of communication in procedural justice theory is the most recent iteration of the concept that there has been stressed in previous policing research, meaning police need to be taught how to treat African Americans equally.